My name is Malan. I've got over 20 years experience in payroll HR, especially on systems like Sage 200 and Sage 300. Today we're going to cover the general the interface. Hopefully you're going to learn something. Hopefully it's going to make your life easier. And then of course, this was where the debit and the credit comes in, where we're going to show you where to put the debits, the credits, and hopefully also explain a little bit better to make your life easier, of course. So let's get going. Yes, it's supposed to make your life easier. If we go to get into the system, yes, I might show a little bit more than what you're used to. Maybe your consultants do the setup here, but I think it's still worthwhile to know this. So I'll try and keep it as simple as possible. Now on your system, you will typically have, of course, you'll have a system setup, you have your earnings, you have your deductions, and you have your contributions, and those things you typically want to export. Traditionally, sometimes you'll go to reports, you'll go to the company recons and journalize from there. Although things might become a bit trickier, and of course you want to also maybe make your life a bit easier. So that's where the GL export will come in. Now to do the setup will be under company management, and I suppose you'll scroll down a bit, you'll go to the GL setup, and in this one, showing you that I have nothing set up. So hopefully we get it right, and hopefully I can simplify it for you. Now with the setup, if we go new on this system, the Sage 300 system, they will typically have some defaults. So let's see if we let's say a client can do the setup. Now in this case, I'm going to say I want to set up for one company rule at this stage. And the export layer type can be pretty great. They can be my default. If you don't have Pastel Evolution or ACPAC 5 or QuickBooks like that, then unfortunately you have to go for the VIP standard layout or Flexi and sort it out. But let's keep it simple. In my case, I'm just going to select VIP standard layout. Source codes, I'm not going to be worried about. Descriptions, period numbers, not going to be worried about these things too much. Apply GL group will be where things are a bit complicated. Summary export, that's quite a nice thing. Either export in detail or in summary. So let's say from the journal side, I want the summary. Then, of course, I'll tick that. The file name structure, let's see if this is going to make it nice and easier. And I'm just going to select default. Not going to make it too funny. Then I can probably save already. And that's supposed to take care of all the loud stuff. With account linking, this is a bit, let's say, more technical. Currently, there's nothing in there. If we go refresh account linking, it's going to show all the accounts that's not populated yet. And I don't want to bore you too much with that. Of course, here, I might want to show you how I might figure it out if I don't have too much accounting background. What's my debits, what's my credit? So hold on, hopefully I'm going to show that to you. And then in my time, I might do the debits and the credits. For that, I'm going to open up Excel. Okay, so hopefully this is going to work well. So bear with me if you know these things already. So let's say first of all, if we want to make it complicated, and then from there we'll simplify it. Typically on your debit side, you have things like your assets, well, let's call it withdrawals, expenses, and your losses. And on the credit side, you'll have your liabilities, your, what will you call that? Your starting capital and capital. For payroll, you're not going to have assets, you're not going to have withdrawals, you're not going to have losses, and your expenses will be your, well, that's your payroll, that's your earnings, and that's your company contributions. And on the credit side, you don't have starting capital, you've got liabilities, or differently put, that's typically your deductions where you get money from the employee, but you pay it over to a third party. It might not be your money. So only you actually have two things. It's either expenses or liabilities. So that to me simplified. So if we take it now to the system itself, if we go to, just want to go to that one. If we're going to go to, I'm just going to minimize a little bit to make my hopefully more sense. If we go to, I don't care about the provision. I don't want to do that one. But on the earnings side, then typically your debit account will be your expense accounts, which might be typically codes like 8,000. And then on the deduction side, sorry, the contribution, it might be your 8,000s as well, your expenses. And the credit will be your contra account. I don't want to fight with that too much, but the earnings side, the contra account might be your salary cost. And the contribution, your contra account will be to who's supposed to be paid over to, let's say liability or contra, whatever you want to call it, it's going to work for you. On the deduction side, that's not really expenses, that's liability, and that for that one, the credit side will be the liability account, and the debit will be contra. I hope that makes sense. I'm not going to bore you to fill this in. I'm going to try and quickly get to an example for us that can show you what it might look like, especially if you had some help from your consultants, and hopefully it's going to make a little more sense. So just hang on tight. I'll quickly grab that for us. Okay, so I wasn't that quick. I grabbed another backup, but hopefully here you can see if I go into the system, yes, the top is just the layout. So I'm going to quickly just minimize that to make more space to view what's going on. If we go to the earnings, you can see there's the 8,000 or your expense accounts. And on the credit side, many of it will just say salary control, which will be wheel. Salary control will be your contra account for that. And on the contributions, it's supposed to be also debit side your expenses. And the credit will be, well, they call it liability or call it clearance accounts or call it contra accounts. But the main point is on the debit side will be getting your bearings will be the expenses. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Also, remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and comment. Maybe you've got a better explanation, but this will be the earnings and the contribution, and then filled in will be the deductions. There on the you'll see the credit account will be the deductions or liabilities mainly, and the debit side will be the salary control, which is quite nice. If you then have look at the salary control, the earnings will be the salary control the one side, and the deductions will be the salary control the other side. And if you deduct the two from each other, surely you get your ACB amount or your net control net salary you want to pay over. Okay, that's in short. So if you want to maintain the code, to have a new earning line, new deduction line, you will maintain it. Yeah. That will cover our the GL setup. The more detail, if you have some requests, I might go into more detail. But for now, I'm going to hold on to that. If we want to do the actual GL export, we'll find it under navigation, under exports, under GL export. And then typically you will go into the one that you created or consultant created for you. You'll open it up, double click on it, and then you'll go new. Under GL export, you'll go new. At this stage, it looks okay to me, and then I'm going to go select data to be exported. That will now grab your earnings, deductions, and contributions and put it next to your GL codes. If I run that, hopefully immediately you'll see at the bottom of the screen, you'll see there's debit accounts, there's credit accounts. It's really just grabbing earning lines, deduction lines, contributions, and putting the money or the amounts next to the debit accounts or credit accounts. So at this stage already, you might think this is what you want to get into your accounting package. Then it's just a matter to have your GL set up correctly, that this will go to in the right format to your accounting package you imported. I hope that makes sense. Again, like button, subscribe, and comments if it makes sense, or if you want me to explain a little bit further. If I then want to, well, I'm going to save that one. At this stage already, I'm hoping that if I'm going to go to export the selected data, I just want to see what's the problem here. It's complaining a little bit about that, but I'm not too. Just going to run it again. To some degree, it wants me to do something special, but I don't want to fight with it too much. It's going to save it to the desktop. That's the problem today. Okay, let's just delete that one and save it because I see there's two. So let's just rather use the top one. I'm running it. That seems to be okay. I don't see really error messages. It's complaining a little bit. Oh, there we go. There's an error message. So sorry about that. So maybe that's a good thing. Then you can also see the maintenance, a bit of extra bonus for us today. If I close that one, let's go back to company management and GL setup. So this is the real world, right? If we go into the GL setup and I pull the accounts, at this stage, if I click on those, you might not see an issue. I'll explain to you why. It's because if you want to fix issues on new earning lines, you have to click refresh account linking. And that's extra stuff. So I don't want to be stuck with that. But there we go. So now it's saying there's a new earning line and I have to select the correct code for that. I'm going to just select any one. Let's select production. I don't agree with that, but there we go. And the control will be salary control. And then if I save that, that's hopefully going to take care of the error. Now, if I'm going to go refresh again here, I want to almost say just because nothing is popping up, it will typically mean it was fixed. Okay, but that's extras for this training today. Let me close that. So the GL setup, that is important. If we go back to the exports and we go to GL exports and we go to the monthly one, let's try again and run data. And at this stage there, we can see, yay, the export button open up. So it's very technical. So hopefully if you get stuck like that, you will immediately know what the problem is. Hopefully you might scroll down and see the problem anyway on the screen. Okay, now if I take this, let's say, well, at this stage, no, let's jump the gun. I'm going to go export selected. Let's simplify it. And there's the file, and that's the file you can export into your accounting package. And also from payroll side, it might be as simple as that, exporting it, adding it to finance, and hand over this document. You can see this is a detailed one. If I want to not have a detailed one, of course, we can go back to the setup and make it, well, not detailed, but summary. Extra for today is to maybe also to try and reconcile the totals. And for that, what might sometimes be the easiest, a nice trick might be to actually export this screen to Excel. Let's try that today. So let's call it GL Recon. It's on Excel, so let's see if we can get our Excel quickly open. There's our Excel. Okay, now typically for me, yes, I suppose from an accounting point of view, you might do more here. For me, where I might be focused on will be to just at least reconcile my salary control. Hope you're with me, but I'm going to at least do that. I can probably, this is not an Excel training. I might do some filters. I don't want to be stuck with that. But really, the point will be that you want to to sort out your salary control. Now, I would know typically, again, it's not Excel training this one, but typically I would want to see only my salary controls. Okay, maybe I'll do that. I'm going to sort it by salary control. Let's try and let's do it that way today. So I'm looking at the debit account. Let's do that. And I'm going to, and we're all different. So this is not perfect, but I want to get the totals of my salary control. I hope it's going to work, right? But you will see now what I'm after. I want to almost independently try to reconcile what's on the file. Now, if I see that 539,442.80 on the debit account side, I'm going to have to go and look for the total. So I see the sales liabilities, and I want to say you can help me here, but the point is I need to look for the total. I see, unfortunately, here there's an in and out, which is a bit of a pity, but there we go. I've got a total 539,442. Now I want to say if we're lucky, and we go to the company totals, I want to say if we're lucky, we go to the company totals, we're supposed to be able to pick that up either then as an earning or a deduction, right? So on this side, if we go to, let's try and reconcile quickly. These my deductions, and the total there is 1762. There is 780. Dip, dip, dip. And we're looking for totals. Come on. There's the 9,000. That's the debit ones I did. Meaning that will be, that would be the deductions. So deductions 539. I'm gonna check quickly here. Let's look right there. On that one, the salary control, that's an in and out. That's leave provision, which I didn't really want. And I'll show you why, because on this one, I'm looking for deductions I'm looking for 172,623 as a deduction, 172. And it's definitely not 172. So I'll probably have to filter out, unfortunately, being an in and out, I'll have to filter out a couple of things. But that's not, of course, what's going to happen if you need to reconcile, right? And maybe I'll have to take that out of my filter. And there we go, 172,623. 623 and 4 cents. Okay, seeing is believing. I didn't try to trick you. That's why I did it quite raw. But the debit account, remember, oh no, it's not remember. In and out will be both sides the same, meaning nothing will go there anyway. So these are only deductions. 172,623. Now, if we want to look for the other side, I'm going to make the debit account, I'm going to make the debit account all for now. And the credit account side, I'm going to make I'm going to select all. Made a bit of a mistake there. The credit one, I want to make the 9. No, I'm just going to select all for now. Actually, I don't want any filters in there. I don't want even filters sort in there. In fact, the credit one will be the one I want to sort. And the credit one must only be my salary control. And on the debit one, I'm going to take out the salary control. Let's see. The 780,558, 780,558, 780,558, and 89 cents. Okay, I hope you're with me. So what I did is I took the actual transactions that can be taken one by one to the file to Excel. And then I looked at my salary control, the debits and the credits, and I compared it to my earnings and my deductions. That's at least what I will do. So from payroll side, I'll just do that. Then I know my earnings, deductions, totals are correct. And then hopefully on the finance side, they will do a bid inspection, maybe more thorough inspection. Hopefully they will do an inspection for us, or hopefully you will do the inspection for the payroll people, getting confidence in that. Okay, so what did we do today? I hope you, well, for one, I hope we all learned something. What I did was on the company management showed you the GL setup. We'd set up. If you go new, it's a bit technical, but it will look something like this where you have your accounts. And then I showed you also how to do the physical export on a GL exports. And then I also showed you a little bit how you might be able to reconcile it back to the company totals, which you can also find on a company management company and clicking the company totals button. Okay, that's it for today. I hope it was useful. Please hit the like and subscribe button, watch the other videos as well, and support this channel for more content to come your way.